Good day, my people, my people, my people. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. My people, it is getting harder and harder for Vincentians to survive in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this is all because of poor economic practice, poor management of the resources of St. Vincent and the Grenadines by Ralph Gonsalves and his government. We know Ralph Gonsalves going senile. I am not sympathizing with him one bit. You understand? You can't expect to rape the chosen children of the Most High, the Israelites, men and women in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and expect to walk away free. This is a punishment for the atrocities that Ralph Gonsalves have meted out on the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines by raping our women and raping our young men. However, we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about the rising oil prices and the way it is affecting travel in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. My people, there was no reason for oil prices to be raised in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at this juncture. And I will tell you why. For many years, we have Shell, we have Texaco, and the two main petrol producers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These two companies provide petroleum product for the entire nation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We understand that Shell and Texaco has their refineries in different countries, and the product that comes to St. Vincent is the product that they produce. And we must understand that Texaco and Shell have been servicing St. Vincent and the Grenadines for many decades, even before I was born. But the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has an obligation to the people to ensure that it provides the cheapest price, especially for key items such as petrol, for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Remember, my people, when cable and wireless had enough of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, when it was not profitable for them to operate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines anymore, what they do? They sold their company and they bail out because it was not profitable. They returned to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What they gave back to the people and the culture of St. Vincent and the Grenadines were very meager. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has no obligation to be loyal to any investment that is non-Vincentian in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I say this to say that the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not loyal to Texaco, they're not loyal to Shell, they're not loyal to Massey, or any non-Vincentian company that operates in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Because anytime it is not profitable for them to operate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they're going to pack their briefcases and they're going to leave the country, and they're not going to take care of the damages they've done while they operated here. I say this to say that St. Vincent and the Grenadines and many Caribbean countries entered into agreement with the Petro-Carib, where the Venezuelan government, through its Petro-Carib deal to the countries of the Caribbean, have been offering countries like St. Vincent and the Grenadines petroleum product far below the market value. Far below the market value. So when the market value for petroleum product around the world is $5 a gallon at the pump, it should never be reflected the same way in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. it should never be reflected the same way. Why? Because we are in an agreement with Petrocarib where they give us petroleum product at far below the market value. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has an obligation now to ensure that they create small investment where young Vincentians could now go into business and get the same rate with gas and other petroleum product that is needed for transportation, and sell these petroleum products to the Vincentian citizen at a cheaper rate. We cannot have companies like Texaco and Shell imposing the international rate on our people when there is an alternative to that. I am sure these gas stations that are carrying the Texaco banner and the Shell banner are privately owned gas stations. We should encourage those gas stations to use the petrol that comes from Venezuela so that our people can get a cheaper product at the pump and therefore have it reflected in the transportation cost, because right now the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially those who are working for minimum wage, cannot afford to take the transportation to go to work. They will have to lose their jobs, because from Annisville to Kingston, which is a mile away, it's $3 for a bus ride one way. $3, $3 easy dollars. Although Annisville is a mile away, when you're traveling on road, it might amount up to 2.5 miles. So if you're going to travel 2.5 miles and you have to pay $3, that means if you leave your home and go into Kingston to do business, you can't forget to do anything, because that is another $6 you have to pay return. People, $6 a day return to go to work at a minimum wage job. It will make those jobs impossible to be done by the people who are being employed for a minimum wage, because they will not be able to take care of their other responsibilities if they have to be paying $6 a day just for transportation for a 2-mile trip. Not in a taxi, but on a crowded minibus in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It will be interesting to know how much the people from Sandy Bay and Oria and Georgetown will have to pay, and Chateaubelair. My people, when we considered that the Petrocarib have just last month gifted St. Vincent and the Grenadines $180 million in debt forgiveness, can't the government use a fraction of that money and subsidize the price at the pump for Vincentians? The reason why Maduro and Petrocarib give us a debt relief is so that it could make life easier for Vincentians, so that they would not have to spend all of this money. So it seemed like Vincentians are not benefiting from the gift of the Venezuelan government, where they forgive the debt of $180 million. Not only did they do that, they allowed them to use the money that was placed in escrow to do projects in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That means that $9 million that was supposed to be going to the Venezuelan government to service the debts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to that country is now given back to us for investment, not to benefit the people, but to benefit Camilo and Ralph Gonsalves. My people, listen to this. I was thinking about this all day. We owed the Venezuelan government $180 million. $180 million US. This is what we owe to the Alba Bank. And from 2018 May to 2022 May, that is 4 years, to service a $180 million loan. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines were able to pay $9 million US to service a $180 million loan over a 4 years period. People, that is $2.25 million a year they've been paying to service a $180 million loan. If St. Vincent and the Grenadines is supposed to ever completely servicing this loan, at this rate it will take us 80 years to service this loan. And we are speaking only the principal of the loan. We are not speaking about the interest. 80 years at this rate. Yet the Venezuelan government is still giving us petroleum product at a credit basis at below the market rate. So if we are in no rush to pay back the Venezuelan government, and they have given us $180 million US debt forgiveness, and they are still providing the petrol product that we need, why can't the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines subsidize the gasoline at the pump and diesel at the pump, so our people can benefit from the debt forgiveness that the Venezuelan government intended for us to have? Why can't we benefit as the Venezuelan government intended that the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines benefited? Ralph Gonsalves in his press conference says that Maduro and the Venezuelan people are very empathetic of the plight of the indigenous people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Kalinago and the Garifuna. So why aren't the Kalinago and Garifuna getting a reprieve from this exorbitant oil price that they are asked to pay, which is translated into high transportation price to get to and from their place of employment? You have to remember, according to Ralph Gonsalves, everything that we got, especially the houses, were done because Maduro, the president of Venezuela and the Venezuelan Republic, are very sympathetic about the indigenous people and the plight that they have undergone. The rising oil price is going to affect the indigenous people more than it would affect any other category of citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The indigenous people, the Garifuna and the Caribs, are who inhabits places like Oria, Fancy the Farthest Point, Sandy Bay, Greg's, Lauders, Lomans, all of these are far points from the central place where they have to come to work. Rosebank, Rose Hall. These are where the Garifuna and the Kalinago inhabits for hundreds of years. So why isn't the government subsidizing the price of oil at the pump using the 180 million US dollars debt forgiveness that the Bolivarian government gave to St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Why aren't they using it to ensure that the average Vincentian experience some of the goodness of the Venezuelan government? My people, the Venezuelan government intends for the Vincentian populace to benefit and to feel the love that they have for us. But under the Ralph Gonsalves administration, who have been mismanaging everything that comes into our country, from the tax that is being paid, from the aid that is granted to our people, to give them a little ease. No Vincentian have ever felt the ease that came from Venezuela and the gift that they've been gifting the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines through the government. People have not feel it, because it is just as if nothing have changed. The gift that the Venezuelan government gave to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is only felt by Ralph Gonsalves, because he can now use this thing to pretend like he knows what he's doing when he's mismanaging the affairs of our country. My people, the man ain't know what he's doing. He is holding on to power at all costs. He's holding on to power at all costs, and he still don't know what he's doing. He cannot grow the economy. When we get gifts from the people outside who are empathetic to our plight, the citizenry don't feel the love. They don't feel the love that the people intend for us to feel. They don't feel it at all. So now, people with minimum wage will have to leave their job because they will not be able to afford this new hike in public transportation fares. They'll not be able to afford it. How are they going to be able to afford to go to work at a minimum wage job and have to pay $3 one way to get to work, another $3 to get home, $6, especially that is only for a village, a neighborhood that is a mile from the capital, St. Vincent and the Grenadines? What about those people who have to travel all the way to Camden Park from Annisville? They have to take 2 different public transportation to get there. What about the people who have to travel from Fancy, Oria, Sandy Bay, Georgetown, Greg's? What about these people? They need to feel the love Maduro want the Vincentian community to feel. Ralph Gonsalves, Camilo Gonsalves, use some of this money to subsidize the price of petrol at the pump. St. Vincent is only 152 square miles. It's a small country. You only have 100,000 people to deal with. There is only so much cars in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. About 20,000 cars or less. 15,000, I think. So you can give the people a reprieve by subsidizing the petrol at the pump. Take it down, let the people feel it, man. Let the people feel the love the Venezuelan government wants us to feel. My people, it's time that we get up and do something, because you cannot be asked to exist in a country where you cannot carve out a proper living for yourself and for your family. How are you expected to carve out a life or a living for yourself and your family when the government is not trying to put things in place to make life easier for you? But all you can think about is to allow the investment in St. Vincent and Grenadines and the investors to hike their price every time they ask for price raise. No price regulation in St. Vincent and Grenadines. My people, this is a sad, sad day for us. It's a sad, sad day for us. But it will all change, because Chief Strongblood is going to take over the administration of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And he is going to ensure that Vincentians feel the love of proper governmental administration. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son. The diaspora much as